guess so. We're ready. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. It is now 9 o'clock, and I will call the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans, June 2025 Board Meeting to order. Special Counsel, please call the roll.
Mayor Cantrell. Councilmember King. Director Barnes.
Here.
Director Duplessis.
Present.
Director Kennedy. Director Cole. Director Pacho.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Scholas.
Here.
Director Antrim.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. May we have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 21st, 2025 Board of Directors meeting?
Second.
It's been moved by Director Pacho, second by Director Barnes. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. On to our committee reports. We have first, Governance Committee.
And we'll need to make a motion to defer that one.
I'll move to defer the Governance Committee report to the next meeting.
We have a motion by Director Dr. Scholas. Second by Director Pacho. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, we have our Pension Committee report.
I'll do it.
It will be provided to us by Director Scholas. Dr. Scholas, you have the floor.
The Pension Committee met on Tuesday, June 17th in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting was convened at approximately 9:45 a.m. Presence were Director Pacho, myself, Director Kennedy, Trustee Joseph, Trustee Jonesy, and Trustee Shine. Presentation item was Kwaku Obed of Marquette and Associates provided an update in the Executive Summary Investment Report for May 2025 market investment. He covered recent market turmoil from worldwide tariff discussions and various aspects of the trade war with the macro economy, including jobs, consumer spending, and interest rates. Diversified composite strategy received performance update aimed at achieving long-term results in the plans. Performance in May was quite favorable, 4.1% year-to-date and 10.4% for the last 12 months, with additional volatility expected due to worldwide events. After discussion on asset allocation and questions from Pension Committee members, Mr. Obed presented recommendations for the finalist manager candidates for asset managers pertaining to private real estate and private infrastructure asset classes. The Pension Committee engaged in a robust discussion regarding the top candidates. Dr. Scholes made a motion to advance Brookfield Square Supercore, IFM Global Infrastructure, JP Morgan Infrastructure, and Macquarie Global Infrastructure. Trustee Joseph second, and the motion carried. There was also action items, Resolution R98-2025 and Resolution R99-2025. Dr. Scholes made the move to accept the recommendation for finalist candidate managers for designated asset class real estate, private infrastructure. Trustee Dexter seconded, and the motion carried. Information items were received. There was no public comment, and being no further business, the meeting was adjourned approximately 11:20 a.m.
Thank you so much, Dr. Scholas. May we have a motion to accept the June 17th, 2025 Pension Committee report?
So moved.
Moved by Director Barnes,
Second.
second by Director Howard. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Finance Committee. I have a motion to defer the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Okay, so it's moved by Director Anthrop, seconded by Director Scholas. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, we have the Operations Committee report provided by Dr. Howard. I'm sorry, Director Howard. I've given you a new title.
JD, what can I say?
JD, so it wasn't in a, yeah, good job.
Okay.
Thank
The
you.
Operations Committee met on Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. The meeting convened at approximately 9:56. Present were Directors Howard, Kennedy, Pacho, and Scholas. Absent was Director Duplessis. David Callahan, Chief Administrative Officer, and Kimberly Batiste attended. Ms. Batiste delivered a presentation that detailed the Human Resources Implementation Roadmap for 2025 to 28. It includes, among other things, updated documents with branded HR forms, an expanded program for onboarding, the creation of a pension portal, development of management training and accountability modules, creation of satellite offices and employee kiosk, a lunch and learn program, an increase in in-house employee training programs, a request that the civil service reclassify jobs in the HR department, and a request to civil service for revisions to the merit pay program, and a proposed classification and compensation study. The latter two topics drew extensive discussion from committee members who were concerned about a number of things. There was, on the changes to merit system, there was confusion as to how employees would meet the requirements, about the vagueness of the criteria and the adequacy of the evaluations and review system. And in the compensation and classification study, which is slated for the third quarter, committee members observed that the validity of such a study would hinge on the accuracy of the classifications, and that information presented early in the meeting indicated that these were not satisfactory. The discussion, however, was interrupted by a fire alarm. There was no public comment, and it adjourned at 10:51. Discussion to be continued.
Looking forward to the rest of it. All right, may we have a motion to accept the May 14th, 2025 Operations Committee report?
So moved.
Moved by Director Anthrop, second by Director Barnes. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, we have Dr. Barnes. Why am I saying Dr.?
I'm loving it. It's fantastic.
Your title's going. Everybody got PhDs today. These have been conferred. Director Barnes, please provide the strategy committee
I
report.
thought I had an honorary degree from, something. Okay, the strategy committee met on Wednesday, June 18th in the executive boardroom. The meeting was convened at 9:55 a.m. Present were myself and directors Howard, Scholas, and Anthrop. We had presentation items. Mr. Ron Spooner, interim executive director of the Sewage and Water Board, presented the committee with a general overview of the drainage fee development updates. Mr. Spooner discussed the complex drainage system with deteriorating infrastructure. Sewage and Water Board has been managing the drainage for the City of New Orleans for over a century and will continue to oversee all drainage operations within the city, and that's according to RS 334072B1. Mr. Spooner further expanded on the issue of enduring underfunding, highlighting that the Sewage and Water Board depends on property taxes to finance the drainage system. Unfortunately, the funding allocated for drainage has remained stagnant for decades. Since 1982, the utility has not acquired new revenue sources. Mr. Gray Lewis elaborated more on the funding situation, providing an overview of the current funding and obligations, and noted that future work with Algiers and other costs continuing CELA will require cash outlay to continue with the drainage improvements. The utility's current funding structure is not sustainable. 2 of the 3 taxes will expire in the next few years, and with limited bonding capacity, a different funding structure is needed. Mr. Steve Nelson, General Superintendent, discussed the deferred capital needs and impacts to service. He outlined how the $930 million 10-year drainage capital improvement plan is 93% underfunded. All the projects in that capital investment plan are considered critical must-haves. Priority improvements would include drainage stations, drainage canals, and power systems. Additionally, Mr. Nelson spoke on fair funding for the future and how it will provide more meaningful support for the operations and maintenance of the drainage system, provide a financially sustainable approach where all properties contribute based on their use of the drainage system, and to expand partnership roles in the green infrastructure space and increase collaborations with city agencies and other green infrastructure community leaders. Mr. Nelson also drew a connection on how infrastructure issues directly impact customers. The Raftelis update presented by Ms. Henrietta Locklear, Raftellus Financial Consultant, touched upon the equivalent residential unit, also known as ERUs, and the exploration of funding mechanisms. Ms. Locklear elaborated on the ERU approach and its use of service in other jurisdictions, highlighting the benefits of calculating drainage fees. She also shared insight from Raftellis's experience about the importance of having affordability programs in addition to a credit program. Ms. Locklear briefly discussed the funding mechanisms, overview benefits, and the drawbacks of property tax only, which is the current approach. The drain fee only and combination of property taxes and drainage fee, which is recommended. The Strategy Committee engaged in a robust discussion, raising concerns on a number of things, including capital improvements, Turbine 4, infrastructure plans, and development. We had lots of public comment. Mr. Joey Albier of the Water Collaborative asked about the specifics of the ERU and which cities are being considered as examples. Catherine Provost, a local resident, raised concerns about the stormwater fee, highlighting the disparity and potential financial burden it may impose on community members. She emphasized the need for future consideration and examination of the infrastructure plans. Cheryl Austin from the Greater Treme Consortium is involved with stormwater management, expressed concerns on about businesses in New Orleans East, saying it's worth reviewing assessor's office for property exemptions and how it's imposed. Jeff Supak from Waterwise Gulf South is seeking transparency for a clear strategic plan that includes community drainage solutions and increased outreach efforts. There being no further business to come before the Strategy Committee, Dr. Schultz moved to adjourn. Director Howard seconded. The motion was carried. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 11:05 a.m. See, I needed a doctorate to get through that.
It was definitely very well attended, judging by the number
Exciting.
of public comments. That's very exciting. So with that, may we have a motion to accept the June 18th, 2025 Strategy Committee report?
So moved.
Been moved by Director Howard. Second by Director Dr. Scholas. Any questions from the committee? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, let's move on to the Executive Director's report. Ron Spooner, please
Thank
proceed.
you, and this is a brief, not very long executive director's report, but a very good executive director's report relative to where we headed. First, I want to start off with the power complex. An update on the power complex. We are, as I said before, and even Ghassan said before, we're in transitioning, and we are transitioning this month, which is a very important month for the Sewage and Water Board. This month, we are looking at transitioning static frequency converter number 1 onto the grid. Where we are right now is with our contractors and our program managers. We currently are energizing our conductors between the Entergy substation and what we call our power distribution control systems. That's our center, the intermediate center. That is required for testing of the conductors, not just that system testing, touching our controls, touching our relays, et cetera, prior to bringing the static frequency converter number 1 online. We're looking at starting our 30-day operational test period. Once we finish next 2.5 weeks with the testing of the conductors and the systems, the 30-day operational test period right around mid-July, energizing SFC1 from the substation into our facilities. So mid-July, we will be on the grid with a 30-day operational test of SFC1. Our Sewage and Water personnel has been trained thus far. They will work in conjunction with the contractor personnel during this 30-day test period. And the goal is we'll be live, every day, 24 hours a day on SFC1 for the 30-day test period. Once we successfully, and during the 30-day test period, there are going to be tweaks to the system, adjustments. Once we successfully complete the 30-day operational test period, then we'll officially load test the SFC1 up to its rated capacity. And that's the picture you see in the first picture. I call the upper picture. That's the actual temporary load bank equipment itself. So we'll put a load on SFC1 up to its rated capacity. Once that's passed, then that'll be a big check mark for us. But again, this mid-July, we are we're transitioning to the SFC1 to start that 30-day operation test period, which is very important. SFC 2 and 3 will come in mid to the end of August as well as September. So again, we'll work all the kinks with SFC 1 and then use the same approach with SFC 2 and 3 with the intent of finishing all of the SFCs, bring them online by the end of September. The turbine number 7 will be end of September, right in October. We'll start that testing and operational test period soon right around 1st of October to get that started testing. So again, we are transitioning from the old power plant to our new power systems with new turbine 7, as well as a SFC. So that's exciting times for the Sewage and Water Board. Relative to the additional funding, I would say that we did get the legislative session, thanks to our legislators. This legislative session, we did get approval of $8 million in capital outlay funding. So that's $5 million in cash and additional, plus $3 million from the capital outlay pot itself. So that's very good news. And then we've also submitted a formal application to the Department of Energy via Louisiana Department of Natural Resources for an additional $34 million grant to complete the power complex. Next slide, really the infrastructure maintenance fund. Just want to give an update where we are. This is actually benefits the board quite a bit since it's been existing. So total revenue since the inception to date is a little more than $82 million, and our expenditures is a little less than $53 million. So we've allocated approximately $79.3 million in awarded or design contracts. So recent expenditures, as you can see, a little less than $17 million, 16.7 for fiscal year 25 in Q1 and Q2 for the smart meter and installation program. And then the Q2 of this year, a little less than $2 million in the power complex. The table to the right, as you can see, the IMF revenue, and we still have that split over all of the funds. DPW is coming over to the Sewage and Water Board. We're still maintaining that 25% of those funds going to minor drainage. As you can see, the monthly allocation from January through April, the 75-25 split. So just wanted to get that out there. Smart metering program, it's really ongoing. This is really outside of the power complex. This is going very well, the smart metering program. So as you can see, we've installed approximately 120,000 meters have been installed out of the 144,000 meters. So that represents approximately 83% of the overall account. So we're doing very well. Right at 79.5 million online accounts have been registered, which is very good. We're averaging about 2,800 logins a day. Bill reviews, so people are reviewing their bills online. I mean, that's right about 35,000 a month, averaging 1,200 bill reviews a day. An important thing is the 17,000 alert notifications sent per month, relative to leak alerts, usage alerts, bill forecasts. And this is via email and text, so based upon the customers opting in for this preference. So that is very good to see. That 9,000, as you can see, leak alerts sent a month, so we are sending about that. And the leak email notifications ran around, they went live March 12th, so about 300 per day. And then I would say with the leak notifications, we have noticed that 84% of those leaks are being resolved by our customers. So the smart metering program is working as it intended to be. Moving on to
Any
the
system
yes.
load concerns with the number of people logging in that's increased over the past?
No, we haven't heard of any system overloads relative to that.
Okay.
From a financial perspective, we have about 23,000 customers on auto pay. It's about 82% of our pre-transition levels, and we are increasing our communication notification to the public with auto pay. We've actually listed on our website, how customers can sign up for auto pay. So we're definitely encouraging that, and we're right at a little more than 51,000 paperless accounts. So we're actually doing very well.
So are there industry standards for auto pay and paperless participation?
I don't have that number, but I can get that number for you.
Because I think it's interesting to know, like, are we
It's a good question.
online with everybody else? Are we early adopting?
For early on, when we were working on this, I think the industry average of people who sign up for an online portal is actually very low. It's like 20%. Like ours is very high. So the fact that we're at, 66% or 55% of total accounts is pretty big, more than half.
That's what I was asking about the capacity, because that number is outstanding.
Yeah, we haven't heard any from IT, no complaints so far.
Yeah.
But Dr. Scholes, I'll get that number for you.
Because I do think that's an interesting story about sort of how people are interfacing with us as a utility.
Yes.
And I think that's a story on us being sort of modern and meeting the times. That's interesting. And it also may change how we talk to them if we know that our population is more likely to do certain things in other places.
Absolutely. On the next slide, I just want to bring up to the Board of Directors our partnership with IC Change, which is really a formative partnership we have. It changes the way customers support drainage issues. It's a login portal that you go to swebno.org, stormwater flood tracker. I went through this last week. Sierra walked me through. And it's very neat. Once you hit get started, you can report a catch basin of flooding. You can report the depth of water in front of the catch basin. So it is a very good tool. It's an AI-powered platform, so it's very good. You know, it encourages reporting of drainage and flooding issues in real time, and it does has a communication component to direct respond to the customer. So we launched this May 20th with a one-year test period. So, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll bring further updates to the board.
How are we letting our customers know that we're launching these things?
You want to come to the mic, Sarah?
So right now, it was a test on May 20th. We wanted to present it to you guys today. It is going to be a press release today, and we are also going to have some other promotional opportunities as well. We've been taking it to community meetings and showing people how to access it and get it online. So it is becoming a little bit more evident to the public.
Okay, thank you.
And so what happens after they report? Does it go directly to our service centers and we're able to deal with those? Just the next step. We report, I apologize. We report, and then what happens?
So you report. It's going through our partners IC Changes app.
Okay.
Right. And if you do an online reporting, it is then going directly from IC Change, our contacts at IC Change, or sending it to our drainage team so that we have those issues reported and tracked appropriately.
Excellent. Thank you.
And our last slide, as Director Barnes indicated, the stormwater fee, and this is the update what we had. We did have a successful meeting with updating the stormwater fee development to the Strategy Committee this past June 18th. We have seen increased public interest following the presentation, and we're responding to inquiries and information requests. Again, we're looking forward to Randy Heyman, the next executive director, has some experience on the stormwater fee, and we're continuing to develop and refine the fee structure. We're going to do this through Q3 of 2025. That's a quick typo there. And again, we are refining, analyzing, and vetting several financial models. So what we indicated Wednesday, the combination can be, it will be based upon the vetting of those financial models, which we feel will be the best path forward as far as affordability of all property owners. So that's the, I wouldn't say difficult part, but it is a hard part. But again, analyzing that data is key for us, and data is definitely key. So once we do that, we'll definitely bring it back to the board, meet with our stakeholders, city, state officials, as well as business groups, community organizations, and as well as green infrastructure organizations. We just want to make sure we get the appropriate feedback from those organizations. Once we do that, then we'll definitely finalize fee structure and bring the final recommendation to the approving authorities, first with the Sewage and Water Board of Directors, and then would go through the requisite process of board liquidation and debt, city council, and the state agencies going toward this, if we go to ballot initiative. I wouldn't say, you know, if it gets to the point, go to the ballot initiative. So again, prior to that, it's an extensive public outreach that will be done, that will be conducted prior to that ballot initiative, engagement, and as well as an education effort associated with this. So this is where we are with the stormwater fee. It is exciting, and it's definitely something that's needed in some form or fashion so we can address our infrastructure and bring us to the next level.
We have two questions, or
Yes.
three. Director Howard, Director Pesha, and Director Barnes.
I just want to make sure that this fee and the information related to it comes to the board early in the process rather than towards the end and way in advance of it becoming something that we're doing outreach on. I think it's really, really important to get the board involved in this and make sure they we're all on the same page. Second thing is, there's a BGR study from, specifically on the subject of drainage fees that might be helpful background, not just for us, but for the public for the matter.
Yep, that's correct.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. Dr. Pesha, your question?
Ron, can you go back to the slide on the additional funding for the power complex?
Yes, sir.
That formal application to DOE, are there any concerns about that being funded? And if there are, what's the alternative?
And I'll let Caitlin expound on that since she put the application together. Caitlin?
We are working with our partners at the state, and they're working through their partnership with DOE. So at this point, we've responded to a couple of different questions, but there's no concerns that we're aware of. It's just they needed to set up their process for applications to be received and to go through that process. So I know you've seen this several months in a row now, and it's just simply because we're going through that review.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other question.
Okay, I want to get Director Barnes, and then we'll get Director Howard's additional question.
We're probably going back and forth a little bit. I just want to note that the the strategy committee, which is sort of the stormwater committee right now, has decided that this will be our primary topic for the meetings moving forward, and potentially we might have some increased frequency of those meetings as well, and that is an opportune place for all interested board members, even beyond the committee, to attend and get more information. And it's also just a great place for us to receive public comment and get that on the record and be able to consider that.
Yeah, I agree that the public comment was very vigorous that meeting, and I think that they had some perspectives that, however it goes, should be incorporated into the thought process of how we talk about it, how we build consensus moving forward. And I like the idea of making sure people understand how we got where we got, rather than just getting the answer. In this situation, we need to understand the showing your homework kind of thing. Show your work. How many times you said that to your kids? Show your work.
Too many.
You having PTSD from that, and all the moms at the table.
I was rattled for just a moment. And children.
You're right, we're bouncing back to where Director Pesha was a minute ago on if, say, SFC 1 goes fine, and there's a problem with SFC 2 and 3, which is in August and September, crunch times around here.
Yeah.
What happens? Are we just staying on the old system during that period?
Once SFC goes online, then once we start the 30-day operation test period, we're pretty much live.
Okay.
We're live. It will stay live. The 30-day operation test period is to work out any kinks, any adjustments associated with SFC 1. It stays on.
Okay.
The existing turbine will still stay there. T4 will stay, I would say, in abeyance until the end of the year. And it's our anticipation that once we have a successful 30-day operation test period, then we're on SFC. We're on the power from the substation via the transmission grid.
But when we have SFC 2 and 3 in August and September, that means they're coming online during that period?
Yeah, they will follow SFC 1 with a 30-day test period for 2, 30-day test period for 3, that same process.
And
Yes.
my question is, if we're in the test period and there's a hurricane, what happens?
We still have if there are any issues with the existing SFCs, we still have our existing turbines that we can bring online.
Okay.
That's correct.
Ron, 5, specifically the turbine 5 would be.
Turbine 5, that's correct.
Yeah, so-
Not only just 5, but we'll also have turbine 6. And the good thing with turbine 6 is that turbine 6 has, at this point in time, excess 6 years capacity, that once we successfully test the SFCs, then we can redirect some of that power of turbine 6 to SFC 1 or 2 or 3, and that gives us more reliability and redundancy.
Just for
Absolutely.
clarification, your first, let's let the record reflect that Director Kennedy has joined us. My question is, SFCs 1, 2, and 3, are they redundant, or are all 3 needed for full system capability?
You need 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, yes.
Good to know. Thank you.
Very good questions.
All right, was that the end of your report?
That completes the executive director's report.
Are there any other questions for interim executive director Ron Spooner? All right, thank you so much. Turning back to our agenda, we have corresponding resolutions. May we have a motion to approve the 15 corresponding resolutions in global? Those include R091-2025, R094-2025, R100-025, R073-2025, R074-2025. Continuing on, R081-2025, R087-2025, R084-2025, R089-2025, R082-2025. There's R085-2025, R086-2025, R088-2025. We have R069-2025 and R083-2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Director Pacho.
Second.
Second by Director Barnes. Are there any questions?
A quick question on 91-2025. So I just want to make sure if we're going through the water master planning process right now, potentially looking at changes to our chemicals and our treatment process, that we're not spending $25 million on a system that's going to be redundant in a few years if we're making changes. So that we're ensuring that this is a sort of part of our ongoing needs and it could be used in the future.
Yes, and 91, correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin, that's associated potentially with the bulk bleach facility.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So the
That's
bulk
correct.
chemicals for the water treatment process, if we were to change the chemicals we use, we could continue to use.
We
the
continue to
same
use that
system.
facility.
Okay,
That's correct.
great.
Great question.
Yep.
Excellent. Any other questions? With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Now we are ready for executive sessions. Do we have executive session? Yes. Okay.
I move to go in executive session.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we are entering executive session. recommendation from.
All right, we're ready? I move to come out of executive session.
It's been properly moved by Director Dr. Scholas and seconded by Director Anthrop. We are now out of executive session. Next, may we have a motion to accept the recommendation from special counsel?
So moved.
Been moved by Director Pacho,
Second.
second by Director Howard. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. There are several information items for board members to review in your packets. Next, are there any public comments?
Yes, we have 2 public comment.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
still filling it out when you called me. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Beverly Wright. I'm the founding director of the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice, and I've worked in this community for the last 40 years. And as a life, I need to make this one statement. I'm speaking as it relates to the decision on who gets the contract for the lead service line project. I'm here because I worked with this particular organization for quite a few months to make sure that there was a solid lead force development program. There's no money in this contract for me or my organization, and we do this. But I felt that this was a company that asked the questions, that was willing to go the long distance of getting our young people employed. So as a lifelong New Orleanian, an environmental justice advocate, and a former board member of the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans, I've spent decades fighting for health and well-being of our communities. That's why I was so deeply disappointed but not surprised by Sewage and Water Board New Orleans' recent decision to award the management of the city's lead service line replacement program to a multinational engineering firm, CDM Smith, with a deeply troubled record. Here are the facts. In Shreveport, Louisiana, CDM Smith is being sued for more than $275 million in damages for failing to deliver on a similar infrastructure program. In Washington, D.C., under their management, a similar LSL replacement program's total cost has ballooned from $680 million to $1.8 billion, or nearly $43,000 per LSL replaced with no end in sight. I just got in at 3 this morning. I'm 77 years old, y'all. I'm tired. So forgive me. I'm kind of wobbly because I'm just exhausted. In Newark, New Jersey, while overseeing the city's lead program, contractors falsely claimed lead pipes had been removed when they hadn't, resulting in criminal arrests and major public distrust. In Plymouth, Massachusetts, they were sued for design flaws, resulting in the collapse of a pressurized sewer pipe, and ultimately settled the lawsuit, providing a payment of $22.8 million to the town. In Santa Fe, CDM Smith agreed to pay a $34 million settlement after being accused of breach of contract, professional negligence, breach of fiduciary duty, negligent misrepresentations and omissions, unfair and unconscionable practice, construction fraud. In a whistleblower statement, CDM Smith paid $5.65 million, settling a lawsuit where they overinflated federal contract costs.
30 seconds.
In a bribery scandal, they were forced to return $4 million in profits after being found guilty of paying bribes to government officials. The Sewage and Water Board in this city has a 90% disapproval rating. I've sat in these seats, in fact, right where the lady in the pink dress is. We worked hard to change that image. This is not the right way to go. It is a big firm, but when do we start doing things differently? If I and the work that I do had a record like this, no one would speak to me, but yet we will give this firm money,
Thank you, Dr. Wright.
taxpayer money, to take care of a problem that affects our health, the lives of our children, and could change the trajectory of poverty in this city with jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wright.
Yeah. First of all, thank y'all so much for the time to be here. Before I read what I want to say very quickly, I just
Please
want to say
identify.
I attempted. Oh, I'm sorry.
Please identify yourself and your
Oh, I'm
address.
so sorry. My name is I am Christian Tucker. I'm the president and CEO of Ilse Engineering. I'm a part of the CIP Partners. I just wanted to say I just tried to submit this last night online for public comment, and I got error messages back. So I'm going to go ahead and hurry up and read this. Again, thank you for the opportunity to address this board today. My name is I am Christian Tucker. I'm the president and CEO of Integrated Logistical Support, better known as Ilse Engineering. I'm a second-generation small business owner leading a full-service civil engineering and construction management firm that has been a proud small business partner to the Sewage and Water Board for over 30 years. I also stand here today as a second-generation business owner and a proud member of the CIP Partners team, Community Infrastructure Partners, a team that submitted a highly competitive proposal for the lead service line replacement opportunity and a subsequent protest to the selection of it. This is not just another infrastructure contract. It is a once-in-a-generation public health opportunity for our community. Dr. Beverly Wright has shared some disturbing and important facts surrounding this procurement. I stand before you to add my voice, particularly regarding a comment made during the scoring process that was at best wildly inaccurate and at worst malpractice. Due to time constraints, I can't go directly and into the full detail that this deserves, but I want to be very clear. The success of this lead pipe replacement program will depend not just on engineering, but on trust. The outreach team must be able to engage homeowners meaningfully so they allow crews to make their homes and businesses safer and allow them on their properties. Our outreach team for the CIP Partners proposal included Geneva Coleman's Hawthorne Agency, which has served this agency for decades, and my firm, Ilse Engineering, and the Xavier University Medical School. And yet, in the second round of scoring, one of the judges ranked our outreach component extremely low and justified it by saying, and I quote, "Their outreach team just didn't appear local enough to me." That statement is stunningly offensive. It is either a gross error, a purposeful misrepresentation, or a display of ignorance about the diverse local businesses that have repeatedly and successfully supported this agency for years. If we are not considered local, then I'm wondering what local even means over here anymore. Let me be clear. It's the gatekeepers, the people who make scoring decisions, who determine whether DBE and small business goals succeed or fail, not just here, but everywhere. The process must be fair, it must be transparent, and rooted in integrity. And in this case, I don't believe it was. This panel failed in that charge, and I challenge this board to dig deeper into what has been raised here today. You don't have to believe me, but trust, but verify. I'm incredibly proud of the proposal we submitted. Technically superior, community-rooted, and led by the most diverse and qualified team in the running. I urge this board to review the process, examine the scoring rationale, and ask the hard questions, because the people of New Orleans and this public health mission deserve nothing less. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Just
much.
one thing, I also tried to upload my comments and was unable to do it last time.
Thank you. That concludes the public comments, Chair.
Thank you so much. I think that's it. All right, well, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Director Dr. Scholas, seconded by Director Howard. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all for your time.